Guitar Shifts. Welcome to the first 52-week Guitar Player podcast. This is a podcast that I decided to create to host on the 52-week Guitar Player channel here. So I'm going to be hosting a podcast now. It's going to be informal. I don't have a schedule for it or anything, but I am joined by 52-week Guitar Player instructor Kayo. So,
hey everyone, I'm Kayo here.
And the first guest for this podcast will be none other than the famous guitar player, Rudy Ayoub. Take it away, Rudy.
Good morning, evening, midday, wherever you are.
Thank you. So, Rudy, the first question that I want to, I actually just want to start things off here by you talking about yourself a little bit, like telling your story. And I don't want to go like super deep because, I mean, look, everybody watching this probably knows who you are. But like just, what have you been up to recently, like, guitar-wise, career-wise, maybe personal-wise, whatever you want to talk about? Just, what's going on, man?
Pretty broad question, but in general, I'm a musician. I play guitar mainly, and I make YouTube videos that are funny, I hope. Now, what I'm doing now is, surviving, just like everyone else. And while I'm doing that, I'm also playing guitar. But I also realized that I love playing guitar and I love making music more than just guitar. So the study of music and basically not study of music, just by the hearing of music is what I'm doing right now. But it's, yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Was it? I don't think I really said anything.
No, not
there,
really.
I'm just, I'm just doing fun stuff and essentially just trying to keep progressing on my own journey, just like everyone would.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume. I would assume so.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question.
What have you been up to?
Me?
Yeah, like just in comparison to what I just said, how would you describe what you've been up to? Because that's a very broad question.
It is. I did kind of set you up, I guess, with that question.
Yeah, you really did.
A vague answer, I guess.
Shit, like tell me like what you did this morning. This is how you start. So like you loosen me up, bro.
Well, I mean, I did some practicing this morning. I took a shit as well. I practiced some technical stuff.
Okay, you should have practiced the like other stuff.
Oh, okay. Like some improv?
Yeah. See, I don't need to practice it because you can just improvise it.
That's true. What's your most unpopular guitar opinion?
Every guitar opinion that's out there, I hate it.
Okay, well, we got a conversation now.
Yeah, we do. So like, let's say Kaya pulls up and he's like, "Oh, bro, like what guitars do you play?" And then that's the extent of the musical conversation, like the gear and like, oh, what we're using. Fine, bro. But like, how many plumbers just like go around looking at like comparing tools? Like, oh, I got mine from Costco, bro. And the other guy's like, fuck Costco, dude. Lowe's is where it's at, bro. Who gives a fuck? As long as the fucking wall is built, man. Same concept with music. I just really dislike everything that takes you out of the craft, which is what comes out of these instruments, and we just start focusing on the instruments. It's like instead of starting to write a book, you just are just going between stores and just looking at pens, bro. Just like, it doesn't matter, bro. That's it. I won't go any deeper than this. Yeah. I don't think we can go any deeper than this, anyone.
Well,
for this topic.
I mean, I agree, though. There seems to be a fascination with gear. There are people like super obsessed with gear. And like, if you like, I don't really go on Reddit, but if you go on our guitar, like the subreddit for guitar,
bro, it's
most people are all the highest performing posts are about gear. It's like, I've never really given much of a shit about gear, like,
I feel like the hunt is fun. I feel like looking for the perfect piece is fun, but that shouldn't just take away from the whole journey, because that's just one part of the journey. It's like along the way you do that, but it shouldn't be your main focus. And like if these posts are, along the way posts, that's fine. But if that's it, like nothing else is being done with the guitars, then like what's the point? What's the higher purpose? You know?
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's why like you see a lot of as well gear videos on YouTube just blowing up. Like people are so obsessed with gear videos and gear reviews, and I don't know. Were you
I don't
sorry to cut you off? Were you gonna say something, Kyle?
Yeah, I was just going to say that for me, not even that hunt is fun. I mean, I have some gear, but I don't even like looking for gear to do stuff because I always think that I'm wasting my time when I should be practicing because I'm like, what am I doing watching YouTube videos about battles? But I mean, a lot of people, I guess, they go the other way around because, yeah, just like you were saying, just a lot of gear stuff on Reddit, on YouTube, and people are not so worried about spending time practicing, I guess. Shocking.
yeah. I mean, I don't know how popular like gear reviews are now, but I think because like I don't watch them. But I want as soon as I like, watch something, I would want to like, yeah, let's compare this with something else. And then you get into another category, like, oh, this is interesting. But like in the end, like maybe you don't even care, but you're going down this rabbit hole. It's just a rabbit hole,
Makes
like
sense.
that's all it is. And it's sometimes it's nice to go down it, but it shouldn't be destructive to your goals.
Yeah, no, totally. And maybe I guess what I meant, yeah, it's not so much that gear reviews are like super popular, but like videos like flexing gear, like
The format itself
yeah,
is like what is sought after. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but
Maybe
anyway,
that's like what's fun about it is like making videos about guitars. And maybe that's I mean that's something you can do, but um that's fine. You're still doing something with these guitars. If the videos are well made, like don't just,
it's true. So, what are you doing with guitars? Like, what do you practice? Like, what have you been working on lately? How often do you practice as well?
pra- I don't think I practice the guitar conventionally now. I could practice it in other ways because I feel like what what I do on the guitar, I'm not saying like I'm perfect, but I'm saying I'm satisfied where I am at with conventional practicing, like sitting down and playing. I'm trying to practice in kind of being able to find music and everything, like patterns and stuff. So listening in on everything around me and seeing how I can turn that into music. And that helps a lot with. So once you come back to your guitar, you have all these sounds that you can somehow imitate, which otherwise you wouldn't think of if you're just practicing conventionally. But if but the way I do practice when I grab my guitar is I just either like try to write something meaningful by like, improvising it, or if I can't, I'll just won't really play that much. That's it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because like you talked about like drawing inspiration from like just music in general, and that and like different sounds, and that just kind of makes me think about gear again because like you need specific gear to create specific sounds.
I'm not talking about copying the sound. I'm saying copying what how that sound made you feel. See how you can translate that into music using the knowledge you already know. It's not like if you heard like a bird go, you just like want to put a delay and like that's not what I'm talking about.
Makes sense. Understandable.
Yeah.
So, Rudy, do you ever, you know, listen to music in a way that you are just like let me listen to this album, and then you just stay listen, you just go 1 hour because nowadays people don't really do that. Like stop everything that they're doing just to listen to music. They are always listening to music while doing other shit. But like it makes a lot of difference if you're able to focus in just that.
Yeah. I I do that sometimes, like in the car or when I'm out and about. Because this is how when I was first into metal and stuff, that's how I would listen to stuff. And it just made sense because in metal usually it's connected. I don't know in other styles back then. But now I would just like to hear whatever artist did in that one song, like how it
Mm,
translated into other songs. Because if that's usually in one album, you have one really popular song, and that's usually the best one or the most catchy. You want to see what branched out from that. I think it's interesting.
for sure.
Gotcha. So, what would you say to people as well who don't feel motivated to practice? Because, like you've been talking about your situation and like how you kind of like what you do when you sit down with a guitar and that kind of stuff. But like a lot of people can't even do that these days. Like they will sit down with a guitar and it feels like a chore to them, and they're not motivated, and that's what they say. And like what do you have in response to that? Like what would you tell someone that is of that mindset?
Just don't make it a thing. Like, you don't have to grab your guitar and sit in the corner and like just look at a book with notes. Just grab your guitar and sit, watch your favorite show, see what comes out while you're watching the show. Don't focus on the guitar. See like see what happens and see that how you can learn from it. See if there's something you could learn from it, or like look for to learn for to help you write it theory wise. If you're not if you want to learn the theory or like the techniques and stuff, if you just want to sit down and learn technique, that you can just watch a show and just do that. It's the easiest thing you can do. That it really becomes muscle memory because your subconscious is taking over from the get-go. You're just doing something else. Just like Kaio said, like no one listens to music, they're always doing something else. We're already really good at that. So why not make the music and let the something else do itself? Kind of. Become the music in that activity.
So, would you say this to guitar players in general, or is like this advice more applicable to someone who is at an intermediate level or an advanced level? Like, would you say this to a beginner?
No, the beginner, like if you're a beginner, like beginner, you're gonna have to grab the guitar and practice. If you can't do that, then guitar is not for you, bro. Like it's not. No, really. Like if it's not driving you to get to it and create, like it just maybe find something else. And if nothing else brings that, then maybe it's a problem that stems from you. Like you need to figure out how you can sit down and practice. Because if you just try the guitar and you're like, I can't practice, just try something else, bro. If it's the same, then it's your problem. If it's not the same, then it's the guitar.
Yeah, basket weaving. That could be a
Yeah,
good one.
exactly.
Basket weaving 101,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you saying that because, like, I know when people watch things like this and they hear things that you're saying and they listen to you, they're going to take that and they're going to apply it to their own situation, even though you might not necessarily be speaking to them as an individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because I was going to say, um, like there are people that will, say, oh, well, certain guitar players never learned music theory. Certain guitar players, famous musicians, hate the metronome. Like Keith Richards hates the metronome. Yeah, but it's like you're not Keith Richards, bro. It's like this advice does not apply to you. Like, like somehow people take it this way. Sometimes they're like, oh well, he doesn't use a metronome, therefore I don't have to use a metronome. It's like no, you'd probably be better off using. You definitely would be better off using it. It's like why are you trying to fight?
Yeah. Yeah, like if the thing with that is like, let's say he didn't use a metronome, but that's because he had an innate sense of rhythm already embedded in him. So like he already knew when the beat should go. And if you played a metronome with his playing, probably it would have been very exact, right? So if you don't have that already in you, you have to practice it mechanically. Like it's just mechanics, it's just whatever. All the famous painters at some point had to practice their craft, like how to fucking stroke the brush. How did the paintbrush die?
What?
How did the paintbrush die, bro?
I didn't know it was dead, bro.
A stroke.
Get out of here. Just get out.
I even gave you the answer before I told you. I was like, you
I know.
stroke the paintbrush.
Kyle, what do you find
Uh,
yeah, what were you gonna say? I keep cutting you off.
No, it's all good. I was just thinking that, everything that you guys are talking about, it involves a lot of maturity from the guitar player to be able to understand what they need, or if they have a teacher, like to trust their teacher about what they need to do, what they need to practice. Because Rudy just said a few moments ago that he doesn't, well, that you don't really practice a lot of technique anymore because you're at least satisfied with what you have right now. And I mean, a lot of people are not satisfied with their current technique, but still they don't want to practice. So that's the problem, right? So it's really about understanding what you need and, well, whether you're willing to do something about it or not.
And what if they aren't willing to do something about it, but they want the result?
Yeah. Then they'll just buy gear, I guess, or keep talking
That's it.
shitty about other guitar players, because that's what guitar players do. They like to talk about
Dude,
other
they
guitar
talk so much
players.
shit, bro. Why do we talk so much shit?
There's
Like,
no
what,
feel, bro. There's
dude,
no
what
feel.
what is like the least supportive community? Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's so like it's so labely, like, oh, this guy plays this, like, oh, why is he playing this? Like, bro, shut the fuck up. Who cares? Like, people just play whatever the fuck they want. Like, if a band decides to change their sound, so fucking what, bro? Like, just listen to their old stuff. Like, music is just a fucking wave that's recorded. It doesn't have to always be the same.
Yeah,
And
100%. Like,
it's
oh,
Look,
sorry, I cut you off.
no, it's fine. Go ahead. I wasn't um like, they should just broaden the scope at which we look at the instruments, it shouldn't just be like a means to like just play one thing. Some people just need different things from the guitar, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, because I noticed that about myself a long time ago. And whatever when I'm in a situation, depending on the context, I will do different things just so people won't label me. So sometimes when I'm with like the rock people and I'm at a jam, I will do jazzy stuff because it's different from what people might expect. But if I'm with the jazz players, I will turn on the distortion and just play some blues licks with pentatonics and fuck it. So yeah. Anyway, just saying that I agree with you.
It's nice to like be able to stand out wherever you go.
Yeah.
Being able to be like the chameleon sheep. Can you keep your cup in frame? It's very cinematic because it's like it goes with my green.
Sorry.
Can you keep your cup in frame? Do you have anything green,
Ah,
Brandon? You can put on screen.
let's see.
I actually do. You want me to go get it? I'll go get it.
Go get it, bro. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah, put it in the back, like behind, next to
Oh,
you. Yeah, look
here.
at that.
Uh,
Wow. I don't have any green shirts, but I have this for balance. I can put it right here.
yeah, I mean, the light from your keyboard, at least
Yeah,
what I'm seeing is green right now.
I could do it like this. Look at that.
Yeah, I guess that works since Brendan is wearing black and green is like the color of, 52-week guitar player logo. I guess it works out.
There we go. Wow, we're such simps for green.
Green is my favorite color, man. So
It's a nice color, yeah.
we now have my dish towel over
Yeah,
here.
fucking balance in the frame. My eyes are at rest.
I expected this.
Okay.
So what were we talking about? Yeah, guitar players shitting on each other all the time for everything. That's what we were talking about. Yeah, it happens online a lot, but like Rudy, you and I, like our perceptions are that of an online guitar player. Kaio, you play live quite a bit. So like, do you notice this happening when you're playing live? Like, is there someone in the audience just like pissed off that you're playing guitar and not doing it his way?
100%. Like the guitar community, I feel like it's bad anywhere. And when like if you're at a gig and there are guitar players in the audience, you can just it doesn't matter what you do, right? You can just prepare for people to to say shitty things about you. Other like I guess if you're like a god guitar player, which there are some god guitar players out there, but people will have shitty things to say about you, and you can kind of recognize the guitar players in the audience when they're like with their arms crossed and paying attention to everything that you're
Like this.
doing. I always remember like this gig I had. It was a kind of a brewery. It was something very hipster, and we were playing instrumental music.
That's
and
your mistake.
Perhaps. But I mean, like we started to play Giant Steps. All of a sudden, a lot of people that weren't paying attention, they went like to just filled with people just watching closely. Like they were like, oh, I don't care about this game. Oh, Giant Steps, let me see if they're going to fuck up. These things happen a lot live, and they will get together afterwards and just badmouth each other. So anyway, yeah, it happens.
Why do you think this is? Like why are people just so insecure that they need to, tear other people down to feel something?
Well, it's to feel. I'd say it's definitely to feel better about themselves, right? Like to feel better about the fact that they are not doing anything, so they have to. Like, do you think that successful YouTubers are commenting shit on each other's posts, like the way we see with haters? I mean, I'm not a YouTuber like you guys are, but I guess not.
I mean, I make fake accounts if I want to talk shit. Brandon doesn't know. Try to guess which one I am, Brandon.
I don't fucking know, man. There's too many. There's too many hate comments. I could never figure out which one.
There's probably a couple that like you say their names when you're going to bed. You're like, Dark Evil 69. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if people just had more confidence in their own ability or confidence in themselves in general, they obviously would not spread as much hate. So like, how does one become more confident in the presence of other musicians? Like if I'm Joe Schmo guitar player, I play at an intermediate level, I've been playing for 20 years, but I don't know much beyond the pentatonic scale and a couple songs. Like, how do I feel confident around musicians that I know are better than I am?
I think if you just treat everyone as a colleague instead of just like an opponent, like just treat everyone as someone that knows more than you, and then you can learn from them. So then it becomes an exchange, because I'm sure you can teach them something too about like the way you learned what they taught you, or that maybe you know something they don't, because you have fresher eyes or whatever, fresher ears. Everyone can teach you something. Even like if there's a language barrier, like you don't speak any word of their language, you can start learning their language. They can always teach you something.
Why are you laughing? Like, as you explain this.
Me?
Yeah, you're like shit. You're sitting there cracking up. I agree.
Laughing?
I agree with what. Yeah, you're like kind of just cracking a smile. It's like
yeah, because it's funny. Like that's why I'm cracking smiles, because like even if there's someone you don't know how to talk to, bro, just like learn their language and then fucking talk to them.
No, it's good. It's solid advice though. Like that's what I'm saying. It
like at the core of it, yeah, just like learn from everyone. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not better than anyone. You know how many guitarists there are in the world? Like fucking 7. I don't know. Do you have a number?
There are 7. There are 3 on this call.
So 1/3 of the guitars. No, that's not 1/3, bro.
That's greater than a third, man. That's like What's 6 divided by 7, or fucking 3 divided by 7? I don't know. It's some crazy.
It's like half, a bit more than half.
We'll never know. It's too. We read
That's
music,
3.3.
not numbers.
I don't know how
We're
to do
actually
that.
guitar players, so we don't even read music, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. How do you make the guitar player stop talking? Sheet music, right? I mean, we've all heard that. Do you read music, Rudy? Can you read music?
I can read music, but I just don't. I don't like practice it in my work or like daily.
Yeah, people that can't read music think that it's like so desirable and like it's so important. Sometimes, I mean, like it's like unless you're a cruise ship musician or a session musician or you're playing a musician like something along those lines. I mean, reading music is not like super essential. Like, what do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I agree. I have situations where I need to read, but it's different. Like there's a point where when you learn to read, you understand the language, and with some practice and living with that a little bit, you understand how to read kind of well. Some mistakes here and there, not so. You're not reading some difficult stuff. This is really different from being a good sight reader. And any kind of high level skill you only develop if you need to, not if you want to. Well, maybe if you want it bad enough, but I don't see anyone being a good reader if, like, unless they work in a studio where they have to do that, right? That's why good readers are usually, I don't know, orchestra players. They're not guitar players, they're play other instruments because they have to be good readers. So, this doesn't happen so often with guitar players. So I think it's good to understand the language. I think sometimes we need it. At least I do need it. But to be an excellent sight reader, I never needed it.
It's crazy. It's crazy you say that because you're kind of describing, the evolutionary process. Like whenever you're in a
Mhm.
certain region where it's cold, you grow fur, right?
Yeah.
With music, that represented itself with the type of music, right? So like in cold,
Mhm.
like Russian countries, like they,
Russian
they
countries.
have they have the Russian countries in Russian regions, um they and all of that cold European region, like they have the music that's more upbeat and fast because they always need it to be moving because it's freezing, right?
Oh.
But in Arab countries, in the desert, the music is way more mellowed out because no one wants to move a muscle there because it's so hot.
Well,
So
how do you know? How do you know that?
that's kind of like I studied that in like a music class.
Yeah,
I
but
was like,
you have no Arab background or Russian.
oh no,
No,
no, I'm 100% French, so that's the problem. Like
like Dion.
I don't want to be yeah they don't I don't want to be racist against the Arabs.
Yeah, man, you'll get canceled for that shit. You know.
I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a comment on that, even though that makes sense, I'd say that around here where I live, like in Brazil and South America overall, it is very hot and people still have a lot of dancing music. So,
Yeah, I'm talking like prehistoric, not
ah,
prehistorically, right? Like, but um,
older music.
at the core of like when music started to develop, like the first spoken words musically of a certain culture,
Okay, so
if you
yeah,
want.
I guess that might be prehistoric.
Yeah, yeah, because it started with sounds.
Yeah, for sure.
You would make sounds with your mouth, like, "Hey, bro, ooh, ooh, ooh." What am I
Ah,
saying?
ah.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Guess what I'm saying, bro?
What are you
Ooh,
saying?
ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ah.
Are you like you trying to like mimic a child? Like a
No, I'm an ape. Ooh, 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 ah, ah.
oh, obviously. How did I miss that?
Yeah, bro, come on, man. Have you seen any cartoon ever?
Nah, nah, bro. We don't have cable TV in Canada, so
Well, what do you watch? Like what?
YouTube.
That's why you
I
guys are
watch
so
your
much.
channel. Like I've only ever seen your channel on YouTube. I've never seen
That's why
any.
you don't know how to communicate with humans.
Now this is gonna sound crazy. I did. How do I-
I know how to communicate with humans. What do you mean, bro?
I genuinely thought your screen froze.
I got you with that one.
You did. Honestly, you did get me. I thought your screen froze for a second. I was not sure.
Let's see if the audience would get it.
Yeah, comment below if you thought Rudy froze. Comment the timestamp. Don't say why. Just comment the timestamp.
Yeah, do that.
I think Kyle actually froze earlier. Did you see that, Rudy, when Kyle froze earlier at the start of the call?
On purpose?
No, I think it was accidental.
When he first started the call, he kind of froze.
Yeah.
Huh? I guess. Well,
Hold on.
I didn't freeze it for me, so I wouldn't know.
Cool. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about improvisation because this is one of my favorite subjects when it comes to music and guitar. I know Kaio is a big fan as well. So what do you think, Rudy? How do you approach improvisation, and how important do you think it is in general with all the fucking things that go into playing guitar?
So if you wanna consider the average, guitar player who picks up a guitar, learns a couple guitar solos, a couple riffs, right? And then you keep learning solos, riffs, songs, maybe a chord progression. This is what usually guitarists do, right? When they start. So at some point, that's all you would be doing though, is just taking in music, but you're not really trying to write music. Some musicians start making their own music, which is good. That's great. So you release an EP, you release a song, you release a guitar solo. I don't know, you make a dumb song, like Brandon.
I was just thinking of your cowboy song, actually, or your
That's a dumb song to you? That's a social commentary, bro. Okay. Anyway, why not take it further and see what the guitar means to you? Let me go back and start the sentence again.
Okay.
What the guitar is to you is basically just like your tongue. Hear me out. It's not sexual. I use my tongue right now to speak English, right? Or Arabic or whatever language. And whatever your native tongue is, it's called a native tongue because the tongue is made to speak that language. And the guitar is an extension of that tongue, and it's just an extension of your musical tongue. So you would be playing on the guitar what you innately are musically designed to do, right? And the more you practice things, the more you hear things, the more you develop your musical taste, the more that's going to change inside of you, right? And you wouldn't find out what it is until it just comes out of you naturally. That's why I encourage right playing in front of the TV, right, without thinking, because this is where you would start to find out what comes out of you when you're not really focusing. And I think this is music at the core of it, and you want to hear it from different people. Like I want to hear what your musical native tongue is, or Kaio's, and etc. So that's what improvisation is.
So how does someone who wants to work on their improv chops, and they go to YouTube and they put on a backing track? So how is what you just spoke about going to make them satisfied with what they're actually doing when they improvise?
How are they satisfied with themselves?
Yeah, like how do they take what you just said and actually apply it, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, you need to hear how other people do it first. You need to see what other people did with their own tongue and see which language most resembles what you think yours should sound like. And you go from there. Maybe it's wrong, but the journey will take you in ups and downs, and you will soon find it, right? Let's say you're a jazz player now, or you're trying to be, but then you stumbled upon, fusion or something more crazy, like, I don't know, R&B. You were like, okay, let me play some jazz licks over some rap. And then maybe you hate the jazz licks. Maybe you're just a rapper, you know? Big Dorian.
Yo, Big D.
Big D. Shit, that's got to be a character.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you, go ahead. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that, Rudy, like that you said listen to other people playing, because you know it's amazing how many students I see that don't want to do that. They're like, I don't want to listen to, I mean, maybe they listen to other guitar players, but I don't want to copy them. I don't want to do what they're doing because I want to come up with my own stuff. But I'm like, yeah, but that's how you build vocabulary, right? I'm not saying that you have to try and emulate this guy, but it's more of a studying kind of thing, because that's how you learn to speak your well, native tongue. So yeah, anyway, that's my comment. I think that I like it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how, like, and I actually am guilty of this as well in the past, like, because I remember when I was in school, like my professors would say, like, you have to like go and steal licks, go transcribe other people's solos, and it was the exact same situation for me. Like, I didn't want to do that because I was like, well, I want to be original. I don't want to steal other people's shit. But it's like you have to do that in order to learn the language, and only from doing that, like, once you can speak the language, you can tell your own story. But like so many people just, yeah, like, why do you think that is?
Because
Yeah,
it's natural to think that that's the right way to do it. But if you look at it from another perspective, it's like you got to a village and you need to tell them a story, just like you said. Just learn their native tongue first, learn the story, and then learn the native tongue and then tell the story, right?
Totally.
Otherwise, they won't be able to understand. And your brain is the village at this point. So you need to feed your brain that information so that it knows what to do with it first. If it doesn't have that information first, then you're just trying to manipulate blank things,
Mm,
and nothing's going to come out.
yeah, well said. Totally. So is it like, because you just released, oh, wait, did I just freeze? No. Am I frozen? No, I'm good.
no,
That was a
really
good one,
froze.
man.
Am I back?
Yeah,
I know you're not frozen this time. I know you're just fucking with me. Yeah,
so
I can see Kyle moving. Like, I know that this is not. I mean, I guess your connection could still freeze.
imagine if like the pick like freezes midair, and I'm lucky enough that if I throw it, I will actually freeze, and then you will always believe me when I freeze.
That'd be hilarious.
Something like,
So are these topics like what you talk about? Because like you just released your own improv course, right? So like this is like kind of what you talk about in the course.
yeah, but it's a bit more applying it with actual theory so that we slowly start to think that way throughout the course. And I developed that way of thinking through you by just doing mechanical stuff that otherwise you probably wouldn't think of doing with the theory that you learn, which other course would teach you. Like, this is the major scale. Like, okay, then what? How do I manipulate these notes in my head? How do I become able to manipulate them on the spot in my head? You learn how to do it not on the spot and out of your head, and then it gets in your head, right? And then you can do that over and over.
Mm-hmm. So what is the course called? Is it like Rudy's
Improve your improv.
Oh, that's what it's called. I actually genuinely didn't know what it was called. I knew you
Improve
released
your
it.
improv. What else would it be called? Like
Rudy,
cupcakes?
Rudy's improvisation bonanza.
Yeah, that sounds cool, but that makes me seem like some guy who is like from New Orleans, right? He has a mustache, one of these mustaches, and I have like a magic booth.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody watching this, they'll get a 30% discount on Rudy's course
Yeah,
if they type bonanza at the checkout.
let's do it.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm
Let's
not
do
getting
it.
I'm not getting anything from this, but you guys, you're welcome, Guitar Chefs. I just gave you bonanza discount code.
That's funny.
By the way, Rudy, you know, in your, I think it was the YouTube video that you actually used it to launch the course where you explained a few things. And what really got me about that video is that guitar players often they feel really stuck with scales and different things to do and different scales and modes, and that they need to know everything so well, and otherwise it's impossible to improvise. And in this video, you showed how many cool things we can do with just a pentatonic scale. So I guess I'm just asking for you to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Someone wants to get out of a box. Like, how do I get out of the pentatonic scale? And then I tell them, oh, show me what you play over the pentatonic. And it wouldn't be really something that dug deep into the pentatonic. To you need to find a way to make all these tools that are really basic. You need to find a way to make them your own. And if you can't do that, then you can't learn something else because the tool is not the problem. It's user error, you know. So exactly the concept of taking the pentatonic and seeing what you can do with it instead of getting out of it, maybe that's the approach that more people should start to consider when they say like practice.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because a lot of people will focus on getting all the shapes down and everything, as they should, but it's like they have the same problem as they did when they were improvising with the box. They just have more shapes to be stuck in.
Yeah, because you're not developing you're only getting the shapes in there, but you're not getting the way the shapes are manipulated, which comes from listening and analyzing sounds and seeing what makes you feel what. This is stuff you have to teach yourself by learning your own brain. You have a free brain to experiment on, and it's your own, bro. Instead of kidnapping someone, killing them, and then no, you don't need to kill them to work on their brain. I'm
Yeah.
not condoning murder, guys.
Yeah, I mean, or you like neuroscientists also work on brains.
Yeah.
They don't kill people, so
Right.
yeah.
I'm a neuroscientist, but we're all neuroscientists. We're just working with our own brains, right? So become really good at that so that you can tell people what your brain looks like without them being neuroscientists.
That's some of the most deep shit I've ever heard you say.
Thanks. I need more water. Let me go grab a drink.
Okay, you go grab a drink, and we'll talk shit about you while your headphones are off.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, that fucking Rudy guy. Fuck him. Oh, man. Can he hear us? Or like the people watching, like you guys watching right now, like we're on Zoom, and like I can see everyone, and everyone can see me. Everyone can see each other, but you guys can't see everyone. So Rudy is off camera right now. I'm wondering if he can hear us. He took his headphones off, so I doubt it. But
Yeah.
it seems like he could, like as he was taking them off. That's probably what I was thinking.
I mean, he can always watch the replay and see if we're talking shit about him.
Yeah, that's true. There was a. This is completely random, but I was at my boxing lesson last night, and there's this guy. He's like 32, but he looks like he's 19, and he said, "Hey, do you have Messenger, like Facebook Messenger?" I was like, "Yeah." And then he added me and he sent me a message, and I didn't read it until this morning, but it said, "Eat shit, young guy." It's kind of funny.
Like, was it a random guy or someone who you were training with?
Someone I was training with. Yeah, he wasn't random, but
Ah, okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, did he make you eat shit in the training?
No.
Okay.
I made him eat shit. No.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. What should we ask Rudy? You got a question for Rudy when he gets back?
I guess the main question I had was the one that I just asked, really about. Well, I guess we can develop more into that if you're interested. Just more ways to be creative with fewer information, with fewer things.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can ask him, see what he has to say.
Yep.
So, Rudy, we were just talking right now about, well, it's still on that topic on doing, like, being more creative with, for example, the pentatonic. I mean, the pentatonic is just an example here, but like, do you have ways you would like advise your students to like be more creative with fewer things? Let's say it doesn't have to be a pentatonic scale, it can be just 5 notes, and those notes have to be in just one octave. How would you, yeah, just push for them to be more creative with that?
Yeah, just like you said, just restrict yourself and force yourself to use lesser tools. So like 2 3 notes, make something that you can consider that it's catchy, or something that makes you feel a certain way, or something that you think sounds cool. Just make something that for you would be interested to hear, right? It's an interesting story. So just use fewer tools to tell the same story. If you can tell the same story with all the fretboard, or just like a part of it, if you can get the same emotion out of someone, then I guess that's all there is to it.
So what if someone is like, guitar used to be a very big component of their life, and then, maybe they had to like put it down because they had to like pursue university, or like a career, or like they started a family or some shit, like what would you say to them if like guitar was huge in their life in the past but is now not as prevalent, but they would like it to be more so?
Find ways to just incorporate it in your life. So like if you had a kid, I don't know, play guitar for your kid, make it a thing, and write songs for your kid. See what kind of emotions you can get from your kid through your playing. Connect the two, right? It doesn't have to be separate. Not everything is so black and white, things can blend together sometimes. The other day I tried a piece of Oreo with a green apple on top. Bro, flavors I've never tasted before, textures that work wonderfully, bro. I'm just saying.
Man, I'm getting red, like, from like laughing.
I'm not that funny.
Yeah, looks aren't everything though, right?
Took me a second.
Yeah. I was getting you back for the stroke joke earlier. I can't even remember what the joke was. I remember what the punchline was. The brush stroke. Yeah, that's what it was. Well, he's pretending to be frozen.
Yeah, like he's really committed to it.
Sorry, bro.
It's all good. It's all good. See, the people watching like don't even know, because like the screen was on me when you were like you. Okay, so
You don't have the 3 thing happening?
No, I've got the one thing happening.
Bro, who does that in an interview?
Oh fuck! This is the first one. You got to cut me some slack.
You can click it, change it right now.
Okay, like there's a
whole thing. It's nice to see everyone's reaction when someone says something.
Whoa! What the fuck
gallery
is this?
view. Okay, that was that was kind of funny. I don't.
Well,
I thought you do this for a living, bro.
Yeah, but it's always set to speaker, because it's only ever like instructor and student talking at the same time with other students watching. But this is like, we've got like a triangle, upside down triangle here. Is that what you guys?
Yeah,
When
that's
I
what I was seeing.
when I stop recording
Except
this,
I'm mirrored somehow.
when I stop recording, is it still gonna look like a triangle upside down?
When you stop recording,
Yeah.
I guess so.
I don't know, bro. I think so.
Oh, okay, whatever, fine. I would like it to be like 1, 2, 3. You know,
So I
not,
just committed to a role that no one is gonna see.
that's true. You did.
Why didn't you guys tell me at least, like, oh, that doesn't? Because we assumed that you had a normal screen happening, bro. Me and Kaio assumed you're a normal person, normal functioning.
Well, that was your first mistake.
Uh, it's fine. We forgive you, right,
Okay.
Kyle?
Yeah.
I forgive him. Okay, that's good.
How does one play what's in their head, Rudy? Like, what if I want to play something on guitar and I can hear it in my head, but I just can't relay it onto the fretboard?
You need to first learn where these notes in your head are on the fretboard. And that only comes from actual practice of singing a note and playing it on the guitar. You can practice that by practicing relative pitch. So you would do that in reference to another note on the guitar. So you'd play a note and then sing a note and then play that note. So you'd always have a reference note. And this is, you go from there. So you're already relaying this information in your brain. You get a note, it lights up green, and then you play the notes around it, they light up green. Then you do the same with another note. You add all these notes on the fretboard. Once they're all green, they're all green. You just use the sounds. If you hear something, you can play it. And if you can't hear anything, that's what I also teach you, like in that course.
Little shameless plug there.
Yeah.
Hey, got to do it. Got to get your bag, man.
Have you guys ever tried Celsius?
No, we don't have that in Canada.
I don't think we have here.
They
in
sent me
Brazil
they sent me
either.
some, and I was like, I don't do energy drinks, but it like looks like a natural one, like that has green tea leaf extract and shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so all these ideas are good. Like, you know, you find your reference note, and then like you practice singing and shit, like other notes in the area, neighboring area. But what if you only have like 20 minutes a day to practice? Because that's what some people, you know, they're busy, you know, like and
You
they
can
don't
do
have
that in 5 minutes. You can do
yeah,
5 minutes of that every day. That's what's 5 times 7?
like 35.
You get that's an hour and 10 minutes every 2 weeks. That's 2 hours and 20 minutes a month that you didn't have before of practice. No, not everything is so black and white. You can have smaller percentages of that pie chart in your life. It's completely fine, bro. You can dedicate 10% to the guitar. That's fine as long as it's there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And like, you know, I mean, 5 minutes per day, like I would be curious to know someone's excuse if they say that they can't do that. Like you can't spare 5 minutes per day.
That's impossible, bro. Most people spend more than 3 hours scrolling per day. Like that's on the low end. I don't even know. Like people have like 10 hours of scrolling per day. Scrolling, bro. You're doing this, but not learning anything. That's just
Totally.
dopamine.
Totally.
There's the reward system's all fucked up now.
Yeah, no, it's true. I actually had this box that my girlfriend got me for my birthday or for Christmas. You put your phone in it, and it has a timer, and it will automatically lock for the time that you say that it has to be locked for. So you can lock it for like 3 hours. So I unlock it for like my lunch and my supper, and like this is what people need. Like everyone needs one of these.
I love the fact that you said supper. We will be gathering for supper this evening. My friends are coming from the north. They're bringing fish.
Atlantic Canadian salmon, baby. Holy shit. Okay. Did you have any questions, Kyle? I still have like some more questions for Rudy. I just feel like we've been talking a lot. You haven't like. I don't want to.
No, yeah. I mean, I guess not really. I'm really enjoying. I'm actually thinking about how to implement these things to say to students. I really like the idea of playing a note, singing another note, trying to find that because it's a good way to train your ear that you're actually close to the instrument. You're actually doing something with the guitar. And yeah, I'm actually thinking a lot about that, how to implement that, and also to say to students. But this kind of practice, also with, let's say 5 minutes a day, this kind of practice is also something that it's a long term thing, right? And I think that we as humans, we have a lot of trouble understanding how time works for us, because we think something about time and we feel something else. So I see a lot of frustrated students doing something for, like, I don't know, a couple weeks or a month or maybe more, and they're not seeing the results they expected, and they're just frustrated. So I guess, yeah, I mean, what would you advise to these students?
Like if someone isn't getting results and if they're putting the time,
Yeah, I mean, or at least they're saying that, right?
then maybe they what you're practicing is either some fuck. Hold on, sorry. That's why Brandon didn't want to eat during this.
Exactly.
Maybe you're just practicing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Maybe some people prefer to start with stuff that is more engaging, which maybe learn a few songs for 2 3 years. Just learn songs.
Mm.
Don't learn any theory. It's like hearing the soundtrack of a movie before watching the movie. You kind of know what the story looks like because you heard it, but then you see it and you understand the whole picture. It's kind of listening to music first, understanding what it sounds like, and then learning the theory. And then you're like, oh, okay. So you're just labeling things. You collected everything in your brain. There are no labels. Boom, put the labels on. Some people work like that, some people don't. Not everyone has the same way of learning. So if you're learning and you're like, this should be more fun, then make it more fun. Just find what works for you.
Okay.
And this video is sponsored by Musician.
Oh my god. Um, I was gonna say something and I just like lost my train of thought here. Shit. Oh my god. Okay, whatever. It'll come back.
It's okay.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I remember now. So I was gonna say, like, yeah, like Kyle was talking about students practicing the same thing for many weeks and not seeing results, and at least they don't feel like they're seeing results, and then they get frustrated, right? When I learned Cliffs of Dover, that took me 7 weeks of practicing it, and I was practicing it damn near every day, like 5 to 7 days a week.
When did you learn that?
Like October of 2020. Well, I started before that. I started because it took me like 7 weeks, right?
Okay.
But my point is, like, I was already playing at a professional level before I started learning that. And then even at that level, learning it, it still took me that long, right? So like for those listening that might be experiencing something like this, it's normal, man. Like what was the longest it took you to learn something, Rudy, that was complex, but you still put the time in, and yeah.
I don't really have patience. I have a lot of ADHD, so I don't really learn things unless I can pick them up on the spot and like within 15 minutes have it done. The things that really challenged me were a couple things. And it was one of them was a Scott Henderson solo that I learned by ear. And that one's like somewhere on my Instagram.
What's the solo called? We'll clip it. We'll put it on the screen here.
Let me find the song at least on Spotify.
I'm glad to see Larry is doing well.
I love him, bro.
Okay, what do you think is more important? What should someone spend more time on? Memorizing the fretboard or practicing shapes? If I mean, obviously both are important, but like, what do you
At
think?
least you want to have the basic shapes down of, you know, the major, minor scale, pentatonic shapes, like all this stuff you need to learn at least a few shapes so that you have anything to reference at every point of the fretboard. So if you have a shape to reference, if you have ear training to reference, all of those click together. So it all works together. There isn't one thing that you need to, you know, focus on. But if your knowledge is already all ear training and stuff, so you know the notes, you just want shapes to put on them, learn shapes. But if your ear training is lacking, learn ear training. You can learn both. Just know how to blend them to level up and keep learning more stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. What are you afraid of?
Me?
Yeah, what are you afraid of?
I mean, failure.
But you're already a failure.
Yeah, I'm afraid of nothing, I guess. I love that, bro. Keep roasting me.
No, but like really failure though. Like, I mean, I every time I put out a YouTube video that doesn't do well, I feel like it's a failing video, you know. But I never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it. It's Mike's turn.
Okay. So
I'm
this,
so sorry to say I'm wearing a musician shirt while doing this.
dude, you've got your own course now, right? Like, you can't be promoting fucking musician.
Dude, like, it's funny that I wore this shirt while playing this. God damn it. And I also think there's delay in the recording because that was recorded live, because I used to learn those live on Twitch.
Oh, I see, I see. And basically, the question, going back like 10 minutes ago at this point, the question that I asked you was like, how much time have you spent learning something? Because people are frustrated that they can't make progress after like one day. And my question was like, how much time did you need to spend on that already playing at a professional level?
That solo?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that stream was around 3 hours. So I approached the solo completely. I listened to it a bit before, but I approached it just, you know, learning what I already know. I was a less developed musician back then, so it took me longer because I was practicing transcribing someone else's solo, right? But the way that it works with me, I don't, you know, write it down, but I have a really good memory, so I would learn a piece of it, you know, live, and then play it a few times, so that not only my memory of it is correct, but the technique catches up. And then I would add more sections. And then before you know it, you know, I learned this whole part. And that's how you transcribe things, you know, you slowly move up, and it would get easier to just learn sections by just hearing something and associating it with something you've done before. So you'd be able to copy it instantly. And then whatever articulation is added within, you can just learn it and, you know, internalize it and then move on.
Totally. Some people think that like learning by ear is difficult. So like how should they get better at that? Like what do you how do you recommend someone develop their ear if that's desirable to them?
Just start with what the normies do, you know. Normal people, can't everyone sing along with songs? Pop songs, you can sing with any song because they're catchy. So do the same thing. Get these songs and play them on the guitar, you know, play the melody of the vocals of all pop songs on top 40, you know. Start learning there. That's the easiest thing you can learn. Once you can do that, you know, instantly as you hear something that's, because they're all kind of the same progressions, right? Once you learn that, you need to move on to something more complex. So maybe you do the same thing with more complex songs, like maybe um like Luis Miguel, or songs that have a lot of vocal melodies. And then once you transcribe vocal melodies, maybe go into guitar, you know? Very fun stuff. It
Like
just,
this.
whatever comes easy to you, do that first, develop on it, and then build the skills that you're not good at. Because if you just focus on the stuff you're not good at, you're just going to be stagnated. It's not going to be interesting to move on.
Totally. And I actually love that you didn't answer that question with intervals. Like how should I develop my ear? Go to listen, do intervals. You know what I mean? Like, cause like I used to teach that in the past, but I don't really teach it as much anymore because it's like, what is the goal of developing a good ear? It's so you can learn things and like play them, right? So
Hmm.
if you like just go straight to the source, right? Like if there's a song, like it's exactly what you're saying, right? Like just learn a melody and by your using your ear, right? Like you don't have to go listen to a bunch of intervals. I mean, there's definitely knowledge, like it's not useless, right? Right? Like there is some benefit to doing that, but I mean, I think that like, you know, there's just better ways to train your ear, you know?
And I think it's funny because in interval recognition, when students are practicing that, they use songs to like as reference. So they used like the Star Wars theme for the perfect fifth interval. Like it's funny because that's the other way around, right? Like knowing intervals should help you with like learning these melodies, not just
That's good to make the reverse reference though, just like hearing the music first before watching the movie. Some people might make that connection easier this way, but it might not be the best for other people who should learn the other way around, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything is subjective, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, I
But
mean,
it's weird that guitarists are the only people to kind of think that way. Like if you were to get into photography, wouldn't you go out and practice photography? Would you just read about it and see how to get the perfect exposure, or just go try out different exposures and see what they look like, you know? And it's weird that like they don't. They were like, how can I improvise better, bro? I don't know. Improvise. Try it once in a while. Like I don't know.
no, it's true. It comes down, it's like theoretical knowledge versus specialized knowledge. I think someone, I can't remember who, but they like made that distinction. Like there's theoretical knowledge, which, you know, we all know what we're talking about here in this context, like actual music theory. And then specialized knowledge would be actually like playing the instrument and doing, right? Like learning by doing. Like similarly to how if you wanted to learn to swim, you wouldn't read like 20 books on how to swim. You would just get in the fucking pool, man.
Just like you get thrown in the pool and you learn to survive. Once it became a skill for you, that's why they throw them in the pool. It
Yeah.
had to be a skill for them to. It's part of evolution, like to survive. We go back to what you said, Kaio, in the beginning, the evolution stuff.
Mhm.
So it all ties into human nature, bro. Like it's not an instrument that just is on its own. It's an instrument that you can use as part of you. It's just an extension of you. Just learn the language that you can speak through it. And that's what improv is.
Well
Yeah, I
said.
guess what you guys are talking about has a lot to do with taking risks. In this case, people sometimes are afraid of taking risks. Like, it's not with other professions that if you're a doctor, you kind of have to be afraid of taking risks because there are people's lives involved. Like, as a musician, you won't really hurt anyone. If you're like, if you play a wrong note or if you play something that doesn't sound good, you're also not like burning resources. Like if you're a chef and you need to try it out these different recipes, like you're not throwing food away, you're not throwing money away. I mean, there's time. Like, even if you're not doing a good job with the time that you're doing, you're still kind of learning something, even if it's learn what not to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can only learn what it's like to fail if you fail. Like
And
they're like,
that
oh, what if I don't sound good?
and that's your
Sorry,
biggest fear, right? That's your biggest fear, Rudy.
not sounding good.
Failure.
Well, yeah, failure on a bigger scale, like on a humanitarian scale. Like, who
What
the
would be
fuck am I?
define that? Like let's talk about that because I think that's something that people might find interesting. So like what does failure actually look like to you on a bigger scale?
is if you put in the work, if you put in all the hard work, if you do things right, if your karma is good, if your energies are aligned, if you practice mindfulness, you know, if you're all the basics are there, right? If things still don't go your way, um, that's something I fear at some point, you know?
Hmm.
I feel like we are that's what we all do. Like we try to do what's best for us because we don't want it to go the other direction, right?
Oh,
We're
of
always at
course.
we're always at this sliding scale. Like, are we closer to here? Or are we closer to here? We try to maintain that. So what if we tried really hard, but what if it was here? You know, I think that's what everyone's main fear is.
Hmm. I mean, understandably so, right? Like you don't want to put in a bunch of effort for years and then just like have nothing to show for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that would suck.
But then you would never know if you didn't try it. I'm sure you learn a lot doing that shit.
Yeah, because like complacency, I think, is also scary.
Complacency is scary, but this is where you need to find what's fun to you again. The
Hmm.
way to the way what something that doesn't make you complacent. You do that.
For those of you unaware, Rudy is a phenomenal actor and has videos with 18 million views of himself acting.
20, 21,
21
22.
now.
Yeah.
What you made a video? I'll throw it on the screen here. It was how to talk to girls, or like if you're a how guitar players talk to girls. Like, do you remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then there was some girl in the comment section who said, "This is totally me. Whenever I talk to a boy, I totally forget what to say, and I can't remember who I am." But her username was like vegan girl's name, right? So I actually left a comment as a response and said, "Yeah, but you probably don't forget to tell them you're vegan."
Wow, you're roasting vegans, bro. Like that's the edgiest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I actually deleted it because people were saying like this is nuclear, and they were leaving skull emojis, which I later learned was a good thing. They found it funny, but I didn't know that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't know that's what that meant. But I mean, you are formerly vegan yourself.
Well, it's the vegan mentality is there. Like I don't practice, you know,
Slaughter?
slaughter, right? So I wouldn't go to the store now and buy chicken.
Right.
But my life took me on a trajectory right now where I'm at that point where I just want to do things where I feel is right. And I wanted to see if I didn't live within that just general idea of, you know, veganism or whatever lifestyle is. Like, I just want to see what lifestyle works with me, right? I still don't
Yeah.
go buy animals, but I'm eating salmon though. So I go buy salmon that is wild caught, and it's all I actually like put money. But I also did eat chicken a couple times since, you know, I broke the veganism, and
Hmm.
that was only with family when they like made it. So it's already bought, it's there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I still can't eat a cow. Like it's just too. I can't, you know, murder a chicken.
Yeah. You don't practice slaughter, right? We've established that.
Yeah, I don't practice slaughter, except slaughtering you with all my jokes on this podcast.
It's okay.
Like,
I'll slaughter you with my guitar playing.
yo, you're every time you pop up, I'm scrolling. I'm like, ugh, I leave you a dislike.
Really? Because I don't even see you because I'm too busy off social media. You know, actually getting real shit done. You know.
Actually making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's wrap it up here. So before I've got like a final question for Rudy, like a closing question. But Kaio, do you have any closing questions for him?
No, not really.
Cool. So I've got a closing question for you, Rudy. Did I mention closing question? Take a shot for every. So yeah, there you go. There it is. Energy drink shot. You too, Kyle. I don't think I didn't. So just it's kind of generic, but like, what advice would you give to someone who is, just they feel stuck with their progress, and they're practicing a little bit, but they feel like they don't have a lot of time, and they're kind of just more playing than they are practicing, and they feel frustrated. Just like, what would you say to someone who is experiencing that?
Just find the part of the practice that's fun to you. So approach the guitar in a way that you think is the funnest way, and add a little bit of practice to it. So like 90-10%, and not 90-10, 90%, 10%. 90-10 is not a number. And then start to bring that number up like 50-50. Bring that number closer to, a nice balance. And also, if the balance is not there, that's fine. That's what works for you, as long as you're progressing in a way that makes sense. Like, if your technique isn't good, then you want to do stuff and you're not bad, happy to just sit down and practice technique. I don't know what to tell you. But the other stuff, you can also practice. That's fine.
Well said. And where can people find you?
Rudy Ayoub on all socials, except Instagram, where I'm not Rudy Ayb.
Spell that again.
Not Rudy Ayb.
Ayoub.
Ayb.
Oh.
Rudy Ayoub.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking like that's not actually how you spell your last name, but that's your Instagram spelling. Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. And so everybody make sure you drop Rudy a follow on one of the many social platforms that exist. And 30% discount. Use coupon code Bonanza. So you're going to have to go make that after this call here. And
I'll make it.
Yeah, that's it. So
thanks for having me, bros. Nice to meet you, Kyle.
Nice to meet you, man.
Good
100%.
talks.
All right. Well, okay, bye.
Guitar chefs.